Okay, let's continue. And for the management of our hypercalcemia, so syempre, you have your initial management, no? Syempre, kung may hyper, kailangan natin bawasan ang calcium sa kanyang katawan. Then, ano pwede natin ibigay? Syempre, initial management is your medication, no? Like your biphosphonates, okay? And then your calcitonin, kasi nga, di ba? Sabi ko nga sa inyo kanina, yung calcitonin, kinakounteract niya yung action, di ba? Ng iyong calcium absorption. And then your corticosteroids, okay? And then, worst comes to worst, is magkakaroon kayo ng dialysis if hindi natin may pailabas yung mga sobra niyang calcium, okay? So, maganda sana kung gamot-gamot na lang para ipapasok na lang siya sa loob ng bones, no? However, pag hindi siya naging effective, di ba? Magkakaroon ka na ng procedure na dialysis, okay? So that's it for your hypercalcemia. So let's move on with your magnesium. So magnesium is an essential mineral involved in numerous physiological processes, including the enzyme function, protein synthesis, muscle function, nerve conduction, and maintaining the normal blood pressure and glucose metabolism. Okay, so normal value natin is 1.7 to 2.2 milligram per deciliter. Okay, so tingnan niyo, halos same siya. No, you have your nuts, you have your banana, chocolates, and then yung mga chia seeds like that, yung mga iba-iba pang klase ng mga nuts, di ba? So high yan sa magnesium. So ang next natin na i-discuss is your hypomagnesemia. Pag hypo, below 1.7 ang kanyang magnesium in the blood. So, lower than normal level of your magnesium in the blood. So, tingnan niyo yung magiging problem kapag nagkaroon ka ng hypomagnesemia, di ba? Sa prone ka for infection, may stroke, di ba? Sa yung blood, sa kidney, sa heart, sa bones, di ba? And sa yung glucose. So, tingnan mo yung mga muscles. Okay, so diyan ka pwede magkaroon ng problem pag meron kang hypomagnesemia. So, ano bang mga causes natin? Increased loss of magnesium due to renal loss because meron kang nagbibigay ka ng diuretics, may CKD, merong hypercalcemia and your aldosteronism. Okay, and then gastrointestinal loss, meron kang chronic diarrhea, malabsorption syndrome, and alcoholism. Another is for your inadequate magnesium intake, hindi ka naman kumakain ng tama, di ba? And then prolonged parenteral nutrition, intracellular shifting of magnesium, refeeding syndrome, and then acute pancreatitis. Then your other causes are your diabetic ketoacidosis, and then your medications such as your PPI. And PPI ninyo, ito yung mga ginagamit sa sakit sa sikmura, di ba? You have your pantoprazole, you have your esomeprazole, you have your omeprazole, yung zolzol yung dulo. Okay, that is your PPI para sa mas important pump inhibitors. Di ba? Nangyayari, piniprevent niya magkaroon ng excessive na acid secretion. Okay, ang iyong gastric or your stomach. Okay? Next. Ano ang pathophysiologic mechanism natin? Muscle excitability. So low magnesium levels increase neuromuscular excitability, leading to symptoms such as muscle cramps, tetany, and seizure. And then electrolyte imbalance. So yung hypomagnesemia often coexist with what? Hypokalemia and hypocalcemia. So meron siyang tatlo, di ba? Hypomagnesemia, hypokalemia, and then hypocalcemia. So tandaan nyo lang to na pag merong hypomagnesemia, meron ka din itong dalawa. HM, HK, and HC. Okay? And then vascular tone. So low magnesium levels can increase vascular tone and contributing to what? Your hypertension and arrhythmia. Kaya po kayo magugulat kapag po ang patient niyo pumunta sa emergency room is meron siyang hypertension, mataas ang kanyang BP, tapos biglang nag-order yung doctor ng electrolytes. Usually kasi pag narinig niyo yung electrolytes, mostly parang naging thinking, in-order lang siya sa mga diarrhea ang case, vomiting, kasi nga may liquid loss, di ba may electrolyte loss. But however, even sa other na mga internal organ problems natin, may effect kasi ang electrolytes. Kasi remember, di ba sabi ko nga sa inyo, ang body natin is 60% ay liquid, and then out of it is meron pang mga electrolytes, di ba? So pag kulang sila, walang electricity sa iyong body, electrical signals, no? And then clinical manifestations natin, you have your muscle weakness and cramping, tetany, tremors, or hyperreflexia, seizures, di ba? Napakadaming nagiging cause ng brain problem, even yung sa iyong hyponatremia and hypokalemia, di ba? And then arrhythmia, you have the torsade de poids, and then or the torsades de poids test, sabi ng iba, pero iba de poids, and then atrial fibrillation, and then your QT interval prolongation, and your hypertension. Okay? So this is your atrial fibrillation. Okay, nanginginig yung puso. This is your ventricular tachycardia. Ano? So tingnan niyo yung difference niya, di ba? And then personality changes, irritability, confusion or delirium, lethargy and fatigue. You have also your anorexia, nausea and vomiting, hypocalcemia and hypokalemia. So ito nga yung magkakamag-anak na tatlo. Next, you have your diagnostic procedures. We have the serum magnesium level. Siyempre, i-check mo yung level ng magnesium para malaman mo if ilan ba ang level sa katawan niya, kung siya ay mababa or mataas. And then urine magnesium excretion. Okay? Pagka ikaw ay may hypomagnesemia, mataas ba ang iyong magnesium sa urine or mababa? Siyempre, mataas. Kasi why? Ano ba ang hypomagnesemia? Mababa ang magnesium saan? Sa blood vessel, not sa urine. So sa serum, mababa, sa urine, mataas. Okay? Then serum potassium levels and calcium levels, kasi nga diba, pag bumaba ang magnesium, bumaba rin itong dalawa sa potassium at si calcium. And then you do your ECG and then check for the renal function test, kasi nga yung excretion ni kidney. Naka-over naman siya. Okay? So next, ano ang ating management? Siyempre siya ay pag hypo, di syempre you give supplements ng magnesium or pwedeng ibigay through IV. And then, correcting underlying conditions. So, i-correct mo kung ano mga naging sa causes natin, kung anong dahilan. So, most probably, matitreat mo na rin ng hypomagnesemia. And then, electrolyte replacement. Kasi nga, remember, ano kasama niya? Na-decrease your potassium and your calcium. Okay? And then, dietary changes. So, magtitake ka ng mga foods high in magnesium. Okay, that is for your hypomagnesemia. Let's move on with your hypermagnesemia. So, ang normal niya again is 1.7 to 2.2. Anything above 2.2, that is hypermagnesemia. So, an abnormally high level of magnesium in the blood. O, ulitin ko in the blood again. Okay, over siya. So ngayon, anong causes ng ating hypermagnesemia? You have your chronic kidney disease, acute kidney injury. So di ba, pagka nga electrolyte imbalance, lagi yung pag may nakita kayong renal na manifestation o renal ang cause, di ba, is mako-correlate mo na siya sa electrolyte imbalances. Okay? And then next is what? Your increased magnesium intake. Over naman syempre pag hyper, mataas. So over ang intake mo. Maybe meron kang antacids, laxatives, magnesium sulfate, magnesium sulfates, di ba? Or meron kang Addison's disease. Ito magiging topic nito sa MS2 if you will be able to pass the 312 MS. And then lithium therapy. This is for what? Yung psychiatric problem, severe dehydration. So, ito po yung sa may Addison's disease, may problema sa adrenal gland. Nasa adrenal gland, nasa may tapat ng nakadikit siya kay kidney. Okay? So, ano ba itong picture na to? So, anong makikita ninyo? Alam ko nasa isip nyo. So that is your kidney. Ayan, then this is your adrenal gland. Okay, so baka meron ng tumor, may problem dyan, kaya nag-over siya ng action, kaya nagkaroon ng hypermagnesemia. Okay, so next, mechanism of action natin or mechanism or pathophysiological mechanism. So muscle and neurological function. So elevated magnesium levels reduce the neuromuscular excitability, leading to symptoms of weakness and paralysis. Okay, then for cardiac function, high magnesium levels can impair the normal electrical conduction of the heart, leading to arrhythmias. So arrhythmias, syempre, anything na hindi regular ang tibok o ang electrical activity ng heart, that is what you call arrhythmias. There are different arrhythmias, di ba? You have your tachycardia, bradycardia, SVT, di ba? Maraming mga electrical activities. Then renal function, elevated magnesium levels can further impair kidney function and reduce the kidney's ability to excrete magnesium, creating a feedback loop that exacerbates hypermagnesemia. Okay? So that is the pathophysiology of your hypermagnesemia. So ano nangyayari? Hindi naman na ilalabas ni kidney si magnesium. Kaya naiiwan siya kay blood. Kaya tumataas ang iyong magnesium level sa iyong katawan. So ano clinical manifestation niya? Letter G, lethargy or drowsiness, confusion, and altered mental status, muscle weakness, or paralysis. Cardiovascular, you have your hypotension. Kanina yung hypomagnesemia, hypertension. Pag hypermagnesemia is hypotension. Okay, so it vasodilates your blood vessel. Then bradycardia, syempre pag hypotension, usually kamag-anak niya si bradycardia. And then heart block and arrhythmias. And then respiratory, depression, or arrest, then nausea and vomiting. So imagine kung mayroong walang decrease ng magnesium, pwede kang mamatay just because of that electrolytes. Next po. Diagnostic test natin, syempre, i-check ang serum magnesium level, yung renal function natin, kasi baka mamaya hindi niya na-excrete ang excess magnesium. And then, serum calcium and potassium. Remember, di ba, kasi nga si magnesium ay mayroong direct effect kay calcium and kay potassium. Syempre, pag nagkaroon ng hypermagnesemia, magkakaroon din ng hyperkalemia, magkakaroon din ng hypercalcemia. Letter C, hypercalcemia. So then, check for the ECG, makikita ang prolonged PR interval, white QRX complex, mayroong heart block, and then mayroong bradycardia and your arrhythmias. Okay, and then arterial blood gas. Sa tsaka pala sa iyong heart block, you have your first degree AV block, second degree AV block, then furtherly subdivided pa siya, Movitz, dito pala, Movitz 1, the Movitz 2, and then the third degree heart block. Okay, so marami pa siyang hati-hati. Ano? So, yan. So that, and then your arterial blood gas, makikita ang metabolic acidosis or metabolic alkalosis. No? So for your hypermagnesemia. Later, di-discuss natin yung ABG ninyo. Although, nababanggit ko na sa inyo ito before, but must di-discuss natin siya clearly. Okay? And then management for your hypermagnesemia involves your discontinuing your magnesium administration if kayo ay nagtitake ng supplementation na mayroong containing ng magnesium. And then you give your intravenous calcium and then intravenous fluids. Okay? And then look, diuretics, hemodialysis for the severe cases, then respiratory support kasi nga di ba magkakaroon ng respiratory failure if meron kang sobrang magnesium. Kaya mga gamot niyo sa pasyente, hindi siya basta saksak na sabihin niyo, konti lang naman yung dose na bigay. Kasi sometimes ang mga gamot natin, meron silang content ng mga electrolytes. And then monitor and supportive care for your patient with hypermagnesemia. Okay? So that is for your magnesium problem. Okay? So now let's proceed with your what? Your phosphorus. Diba? So phosphorus na tayo ngayon sa ating problema sa buhay. So ang phosphorus naman natin is an essential mineral involved in the various important physiological functions, including the energy production sa ATP ng cell, di ba? Bone formation and cellular signaling. Ang normal niya is 2.5 to 4.5 mg per dl. Okay, so ito daw po yung mga foods containing your phosphorus. Usually, siya rin yung nakikita nyo sa calcium. Kasi nga, di ba, sabi sa inyo, is merong magka-effect yan dalawa si calcium at si phosphorus. No? So let's discuss with your hypophosphatemia. So anything below the phosphorus level of 2.5, that is hypophosphatemia. So ano ang hypophosphatemia? Normally low na potassium, again, in the blood. Okay? In the blood. Ang ating problem. Okay, na potassium hindi sa cell. Okay? Nasaan? Nasa blood. Okay? Next. Anong causes niya? Malnutrition and starvation. Ano pa? You have your chronic alcoholism, prolonged intravenous nutrition without phosphate supplementation. And then ano pa? Renal causes niya? Hyperparathyroidism, chronic kidney disease, diuretics, and Fanconi syndrome. And then refeeding syndrome. Paano ba ang refeeding syndrome? Yung pag bigla mong pinakain, ng like, for example, may increase yung phosphorus, ano mangyayari? Bigla mong pinakain. Instead na tumaas, lalo pa siyang bababa. Kaya dapat pagka management dito is paunti-unti mo pakakainin, hindi pwedeng biglaan. And then respiratory alkalosis, diabetic ketoacidosis, no? Or pwede naman ito sa refeeding syndrome, pag pinakain mo bigla magtataas, magiging, convert naman siya into hyper. So wala ka na gamot. Kasi hypo mo, itinatry mong gamutin, pero naging hyper. And then increased cellular utilization, no? Like your sepsis or your trauma. No? Kasi for example, nasira ang iyong body organ, di syempre, i-repair yan ng body mo kasi nga para bumalik ka sa homeostasis. So pwede ka rin daw magkaroon doon ng hypophosphatemia. Kaya mahalaga nga ang nutrition. Kaya nga di ba may sabi pa kayo nutrition para alam niyo na yung every action na ginagawa natin sa body is may direct effect sa other organs, other parts, other cells, and everywhere sa part ng ating body ang nutrition, no? And then hemolysis, so nagkakaroon ng distraction ng iyong dugo, di ba? And then genetic causes, X-linked hypophosphatemia, rickets. Okay, so ito po yung mga causes ng ating hypophosphatemia. So mechanism niya, physiologic mechanism, energy production. So low phosphate levels impair energy production, which affects the cellular metabolism, function, and repair. Then for your bone health, can lead to bone pain, weakness, rickets in children, or osteomalacia in your adults. Okay? And then cellular signaling and function can lead to impaired function of your various tissues and organs. So ganyan po yung magiging effect if ikaw ay mayroong hypophosphatemia. And then next, for the clinical manifestations, weakness and irritability and confusion, seizures, then muscle weakness and myopathy, respiratory muscle weakness and rhabdomyolysis, arrhythmias, decreased cardiac output. And then you have also your bone pain, rickets, and your osteomalacia, and your anorexia, nausea, vomiting, hemolysis, and decreased platelet function. So ito po yung makikita natin, di ba? Halos kung lahat naman ng electrolytes, makikita ninyo, paulit-ulit lang yung seizure, muscle weakness, di ba? So meaning niya, pag ikaw ay mag-examination, na ang topic, like for example, magpapaquiz ako sa inyo, batik na yung mga yan. So sa choices ninyo, i-extreme na siya. Pag for example, among the following symptoms, what are the signs and symptoms of electrolyte imbalances, except, sabi ganun. So kung may nakuha ka na agad na may nakita ka na seizure, irritability, muscle weakness, ganyan, i-X mo na yun kasi except diba? So meaning hanapin mo dun yung hindi niya sign and symptoms. Okay? So kaya kayo, tingnan nyo ang technique na gawin ninyo, tingnan ninyo kung saan makakaturn ang sign and symptoms ng mga patients. Yun yung kabisaduhin nyo lang ng once, diba? Then later, kabisaduhin nyo na ngayon, or not kabisaduhin, i-comprehend nyo na if ano yung kakaiba sa kanila. Okay? Para na specific for that, sakit. Diba? Like for example, yung thirst. Kanino yung thirst? Kanino lang siya? Na kay hypernatremia. Diba? So pag nakita mo yung hypernatremia, ay yung increased thirst. So si hypernatremia din i-describe niya. Next, diagnostic test natin, syempre, serum phosphate levels, no? And then, your blood urea nitrogen and serum creatinine kasi nga, anong nangyayari? Baka over naman ang kanyang secretion. And then, calcium and parathyroid hormone levels, okay? And then, your arterial blood gas. So, i-check din nyo po ang ABG ng ating patient. Then, next po, kasi, di ba, ang acid-base balance kasi natin is also part of your, metabolism ng iyong body. No? So, ngayon, para makita mo ang metabolism ng iyong body, kailangan siya makita sa arterial blood gas. And then, anong management natin? May kulang, di ba? Lagi pag may kulang, bigyan. Okay, pag kulang ng pagmamahal, bigyan ng pagmamahal. Okay, and then you give your IV phosphate for severe cases, and then dietary changes. Siyempre, pag may hypo ka, kung ang cause is dietary intake, so i-change mo ang diet mo, no? You take yung food na high in phosphorus, and then addressing the underlying causes, no? But siyempre, you observe the refeeding syndrome, no? Baka naman mamaya bigla-bigla ninyong bigyan ng magnesium, ma-reverse naman siya maging magnesium. Mabigyan nyo ng phosphorus, magiging hyperphosphatemia naman na siya. Okay, so next po, this is not this is hyperphosphatemia. Hindi na tayo sa hypo, so let's move on with your hypophosphatemia. Okay? So anong hyper? That is the elevated ang kanyang potassium level sa kanyang, again, blood, no? Not sa mga cells. Okay? So, nakita naman nyo rito, yung parathyroid gland and your bones, di ba? Kasi nga may effect nga siya kay calcium. Magkamag-anak nga sila, di ba? So, ngayon, the renal causes ng ating hyperphosphatemia, CKD and acute kidney injury, excessive dietary phosphate intake, phosphate supplements, hemolysis, di ba? Rhabdomyolysis, tumor disease syndrome, and then hypercatabolic state. And then, ang ating endocrine disorders, yung hyperparathyroidism, vitamin D toxicity, di ba? And then your acidosis and yung iatrogenic causes. Okay? That are the causes of your hyperphosphatemia. Just like what I said before, hindi ka magkakaroon ng electrolyte imbalance kung wala kang prior na problem. Okay? Next po, health problem. Next po, we have your pathophysiologic mechanism. The calcium phosphate precipitation can lead to vascular calcification, contributing to arterial stiffness and increasing the risk of cardiovascular events. Next, your impaired calcium regulation. So hypophosphate levels can lower the calcium. So lagi nga siyang ganun, no? Kapag mataas ang calcium, mababa ang phosphorus. Pag mataas ang phosphorus, mababa ang calcium. Okay? So, by binding to calcium and forming insoluble complexes. So sa bone health naman natin, it leads to renal osteodystrophy and osteoporosis. Then cardiovascular effects, it contributes to arterial stiffness and hypertension. And then increasing the workload on the heart and raising the risk of cardiovascular complications. Okay, so that is the pathophysiologic mechanism kung bakit nagkakaroon ng hyperphosphatemia. Okay, next, for the clinical manifestations, you have your tetany. Okay, ano yung tetany natin? Yung parang ganun sa pinakita kanina sa iyong hypercalcemia, hypocalcemia, that is your, ano yun? Tetany, yung ganito. Yung parang naka-stiff, matigas. Okay? And then seizures. You have your bone pain and muscle weakness, hypertension, heart failure, and coronary artery disease. Calcification of the heart valve. So nakakatakot din pag yung calcium mo nag-form siya ng crystal sa iyong heart. And even sa iyong kidney nag-form yan. Okay? So para mawala yan, encourage mo yung patient na mag-increase ng water intake. Yung calcification, no? Lalo yung pagkalibawa, nagtitake ng gluta-gluta. Yan, nagkakaroon ng calcification sa ganun, no? And then kidney dysfunction, then itchy skin, and soft tissue calcification. So anong ating diagnostic procedures again? Syempre, you check the phosphate level, yung kanyang CREA and BUN, and kanyang GFR, yung kidney function. Para makita mo if what? Pag hyperphosphatemia, ano nangyayari? Increase ba ang urine phosphorus o decrease? Siyempre, pag hyper ay decrease ang urine phosphorus, pero ang sa serum ay increase. Okay? And then, calcium and parathyroid hormone levels and your x-ray and ultrasound kasi baka mayroon ng calcification sa iba't ibang bahagi ng iyong katawan. So, anong management natin for hyperphosphatemia? You do your, you give your phosphate binders such as your calcium acetate, sevelamer, lactium carbonate, and then dietary restriction. Siyempre, iwasan mo ang sobrang high in phosphorus na food. And for severe cases, you will do your dialysis and then calcium supplements. Okay? Kasi ang nangyayari is, pag mataas si phosphorus, pag mababa si calcium, kaya kailangan bigyan ng calcium. Okay? So, that's it for your, your electrolyte imbalances. Okay, so let's proceed with our next topic. Okay,